Grade-Oobleck, Chemistry Fun, Week 26, 2nd grade. Teachers, by now, I hope you've read Oobleck to your kids by Dr. Seuss, because we're going to make some Oobleck in the science classroom. Just showing you all the ingredients, which is just water and cornstarch. I'm going to set my iPad down and show you how to do it. I've taken the kids' measuring cups, and I've written 1/2 cup on here. And this is messy, and you know what? That's okay. Messy. Science is messy. It's okay. So we're going to fill up. Now, what I've done is given you a container like this, and this is for 2 kids. So 2 kids are going to work together on this, and then they can pick up their own Oobleck. Because I don't have enough of these containers for everybody to have their own. And besides, that's too much cornstarch. So we're going to fill up this 1/2 cup container with cornstarch. And we're going to put it in our container, which I don't have an empty one. If you just wait just a second, I'll grab one. So I'm going to move the made one out of the way and put this one down. And I'm going to pour my cornstarch in here. It's not a heaping. You know, this should have a little bit more in it to show kids how to measure correctly. And then level it off. And we're going to keep these on the trays. I'll go ahead and put a knife on here in case they get too much. They can level it off. And then we're going to dump it into the container. It's going to take 1/3 cup of water. And I have that marked also. And I'm going to pour it in real slowly. I'm not going to just throw it in there because it kind of tends to clump up. And I'm going to go ahead and put my food coloring in. I'm going to put 3 drops of green. And I'm going to start stirring it. Now this is where they have to be patient and they have to learn to be scientists, because this doesn't happen automatically. It's kind of hard to stir because cornstarch really doesn't like mixing with water. And they're going to get a little frustrated, but they have to mix it. They have to be good scientists. They have to rake that powder off and they have to kind of swirl it around. Now I'm keeping my hands kind of out of it until I get it mixed. You can see it's still kind of clumpy. Oobleck, in case you don't know, is a non-Newtonian substance. In other words, it doesn't make a chemical bond. The water doesn't chemically bond to the cornstarch. It kind of keeps a property all by itself. And what it does is it acts like a fluid when it's left alone, but when you pick it up and try to compress it in your hand, it becomes a solid. So that's what's so strange about this. It's just cornstarch and water. And you can see from this one right here that I have. Now it's possible that they don't have quite the right consistency. It's okay to add a little bit more cornstarch to that. In fact, I had to add 2 more tablespoons to make my Oobleck to this mixture. It's kind of easier to stir once you get the green mixture going. Cornstarch is cheap, so I'm not going to lecture you about how expensive that is. Food coloring is not, so I'm going to lecture you about how expensive that is. And it only takes 3 drops to make the same color green that was in Dr. Seuss's book. So they can learn to be thrifty with our supplies. Now you see it's getting really hard to turn. So now it's okay to put your hands in it. And you see it has this strange property, like it doesn't stick to the spoon anymore. So now what we're going to do is examine these properties right here. See how it flows when left alone, but when I try to compress it, when I try to smash it, it becomes a solid. And it's all, you know, they don't have to know the chemical reason why this happens. They just need to know that this is the only thing that makes this property like this. It flows through their hands And yeah, it's messy. And then they can drop it off and roll it. So 2 kids can get in here and get them an Oobleck glob. And they can, you know, wouldn't it be fun to walk through? Well, there actually is a Steve Sprangler video of them walking through this. And the people that fall down and the people that successfully make it through. So that's kind of fun to watch too. So this is Oobleck. And we're not pouring this down the sink. We're going to pour it into a waste container right here. And when we get through at the end of the day, we'll dispose of it in a box in the trash. If we pour this down the sink, it's going to stop the sinks up. So don't let them pour it down the sink. Get their container liquid, and then they can pour it into this. Even that's fun to do. So there we have Oobleck. One thing I want to add, teachers, is when they have this mess on their hands like this, you know, instead of kids running to the sinks and washing all this down the drain, we're just going to come over here and we're going to put our hands in the water and rinse them off. And all that's going to come off in the water. And then we're going to have nice clean hands again. And we're going to wipe it off with brown paper towel. And we'll be through. We won't be running back and forth to the sinks, dripping that stuff on the floor. So no one should have to leave their table. The mess should stay contained at their table. And when they get through, they can put up all their supplies. They can get their cups ready for the next class. They can clean up any, you know, these trays will be easy to clean up at the end of the day. Yes, we know we're going to have spills on it. It's okay. So just wanted to add that.